So I grabbed my knife and I said, don't come anywhere closer to me. I had absolutely no intention of using it. I'm on the phone with my mom, and he's coming at me like he's gonna grab either the phone or like the knife or something. And so I was just like, I was like, don't come any closer. Coming at me, and I threw it.
That's Courtney Clenney speaking to investigators in Florida after she's been accused of fatally stabbing her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli. Court TV anchor Vinny Politan has more.
A social media sensation, now a suspected killer. 26-year-old Courtney Taylor Clenney is charged with second-degree murder in the death of her 27-year-old boyfriend, Christian Obumseli.
The chief medical examiner of Miami-Dade County determined that Christian's cause of death was a stab to the chest. Christian was stabbed as the knife punctured the subclavian artery in his right chest.
It all happened following a fight at the couple's luxury apartment in Miami's upscale Edgewater neighborhood. And prosecutors say fights were common in this volatile relationship.
Evidence gathered during the investigation of Christian's death showed that since November of 2020, he and the defendant, Clenney, had been involved in an extremely tempestuous and combative relationship.
The prosecutor's office would later release text messages where Obumseli confronts Clenney for slashing him with a knife more than once. They also released secret audio recordings taken by the victim.
Don't touch me!
What is going on? Like, what are you gonna get this mad at me when I'm apologizing to you?
No, Christian.
Like, you're thinking I'm doing it on purpose?
Drop your attitude. Drop your high pitch.
Okay, I'm not doing it on purpose.
You just saw her. You know well the right thing to do is to tell me.
Yes, and I am so sorry.
So shut up and let me slap you.
Officials say their apartment building management received so many complaints about their loud fights, they came close to being evicted. Building cameras captured this fight in February, just weeks before Obumseli was killed. Clenney's attorney notes that the elevator video does not depict the events leading up to the altercation, and in a statement said Obumseli was the abuser, the worst kind of abuser. He would manipulate and abuse Courtney in private when he thought nobody was around. Her attorney claims she was acting in self-defense after Obumseli attacked her. In his statement to Court TV, Frank Prieto states, "It is an absolute injustice to charge a victim of domestic violence and human trafficking with a crime." He went on to say, "We will vigorously defend Courtney and clear her of this unfounded and baseless charge." This body cam footage was taken the day before the stabbing.
Right now, like, I have not always been a victim, but like right now I'm a freaking victim in this situation. I'm scared to go downstairs.
All right, so what do you want to say?
I want to be like, I want to be like exonerated, I guess, of like anything wrong. And I want him, okay, so let's start here. I want a restraining order against Christian Obumseli.
The OnlyFans star first rose to fame as a bodybuilder.
My name is Courtney Taylor, and I'm about 8 days out from my first show, the NPC West Coast Classic. And today we're going to hit some back and vice, so let's get started.
She soon became a social media celebrity with some 2 million followers on Instagram, where she frequently posted pictures of the man she's now accused of murdering.
This homicide has gained some notoriety since the defendant, Clenney, is an internet social media personality and influencer under the name of Courtney Taylor.
Now Clenney is finding that her fame has a downside.
Yeah, you should go. Because you just killed your boyfriend. Yeah, you did.
That was our Vinny Politan reporting there. Now let's talk more about this case. Tonight on the program, we have one of Courtney Clenney's attorneys joining us. Attorney Frank Prieto is joining us from Florida. And we want to welcome in business and lifestyle coach and domestic violence survivor, Vivace Max Victor, joining us as well. Big welcome to you both. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Frank, I want to begin with you, if I may, please. Usually I'm used to talking with you in the morning. You're kind enough, you and Sabrina Puglisi, you both are trying this case together. You'll come on the show, and you always seem to have something new to share with us. So I want to start there. Give us an update on what is the latest. I know you're doing a lot of digging, a lot of investigatory work. What new details can you share with us, please?
Sure, Julie. Again, thanks for having me on the program. Always a pleasure to be here. And Ms. Puglisi couldn't be here, but I'll stand in for her. So, I mean, look, you know, we've been investigating our defense, vigorously defending Courtney for some time now. We've uncovered a lot of witnesses that in the neighbors in the neighborhood that have talked about how they perceived her to always be the victim of domestic violence. Just her body language, her demeanor. So we're mounting a list of all these defense witnesses that we plan to bring forth, and eventually we'll list them and take their depositions and get their story out and our defense out. Because again, Courtney's actions that night were taken to defend her life.
Frank, are you all still on trial to go in the new year? I believe at the last scheduling conference, it was looking like 2024, early in the year would be when this case goes.
Yeah, I think, Julie, that, again, you know, just we haven't filed it yet, but I actually, today, I finished drafting a motion to suppress some of the statements that you actually played in the intro of the secret recordings that the alleged victim took in this case that paint a negative picture of my client. But these were planned, secretive recordings by Obumseli in this case. So I've drafted a motion to suppress. Florida statute, not to get into the minutia, but Florida statute 93406 is very clear that these recordings should not be admitted into evidence. So that's coming. Those will have to be ruled on. So we're thinking the first quarter of next year is actually more realistic.
Oh, this is interesting, Frank. See, I said you always have something new. Is Florida a two-party consent state or one-party?
Florida's a one-party state, and the case law is clear that unless you consent or you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy, which clearly this was taken in her apartment, it's just the two of them. There's nobody else present. Clearly, there's an expectation of privacy, so the judge should do the right thing here and definitely suppress that as evidence. So that's something that we're working on amongst other, obviously, a lot of other things.
Well, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You and Sabrina Puglisi have been tremendous advocates for Courtney Clenney, and we appreciate you sharing your position always. Vivace Max Victor, I want to turn to you now, please, tapping into what you've learned, and you are so strong. You're a domestic violence survivor, among other things. You do life coaching and empowerment, and you are someone who is not an advocate on either side, totally disinterested. Tell me, as someone who's experienced domestic violence, what do you see when you look at the various pieces of evidence that have been made public? And I'm acknowledging that we haven't seen everything yet publicly, but from what you have seen, what stands out to you and why, please?
Yes, Julie. I mean, obviously they had a volatile relationship. From my understanding, there was a history of domestic violence. When we look at the elevator footage, she comes across as the aggressor. But when we look at the building lobby, she's stating that she's the victim and she wants a restraining order. So your heart goes out to this woman. I think ultimately, if anyone is in a toxic relationship where there's a harmful dynamic, where there can be an adverse impact on either party or typically both parties, mentally, emotionally, and physically, the call to action is to get out before something like this unfortunate happens. I think toxic relationships are noted by lack of mutual respect. If there's any sort of manipulation, if there's gaslighting, if there's guilt tripping, if there's frequent and intense conflict that can typically culminate into physical abuse, if there are negative emotions that are heightened like rage, anger, any sort of jealousy, envy, and also when there's dysfunctional communication where people don't trust each other or they misinterpret each other or someone feels like they have to over-explain. So I feel this is tragic all along. None of it should have happened. Hopefully, for any of your viewers out there, anyone who's experiencing domestic violence, I urge you to please get help. And if you go to one person and they can't help you, please go to the second person, the third person, the 10th person, and get the help that you need. It is not okay to be in a circumstance where you feel physically violated, emotionally violated, spiritually violated. You deserve to have peace. You deserve to live in an environment that is that is fair, that you feel protected in.
No, that is right, and that is great advice, Vivace. You know, something else I think that's important, and wanted to bring up this point with you, please, is that it doesn't start always with violence. It starts small, doesn't it? You know, little acts of verbal abuse. You know, we use that
100%.
analogy, right, in the domestic violence prevention movement of, you know, you don't boil a frog by dropping the frog in the hot boiling water. The frog will jump right out. You know, so if somebody is in an abusive relationship, the heat gets turned up slowly, doesn't it?
I mean, many times. It depends on the relationship, right? It comes in many, many different nuances. I think it's a complicated emotional landscape, and usually there is a violation of boundaries. So there could be microaggressions, to your point, where somebody's testing somebody's boundaries. And if unfortunately the victim doesn't stand up for themselves and doesn't defend their boundaries, usually the aggressor pushes and pushes and pushes, because ultimately domestic violence is about power and control, and the greatest predictor of domestic violence is prior domestic violence.
That's right. So well said. Vivace Max Victor, attorney Frank Prieto, so great to have you both on the show tonight. Thank you kindly for your time. We'll talk with you both very soon.